Hello, Bill. Are you there?
Tom?
Yes, Bill.
Oh, okay, good.
How are things in Shelton, Connecticut today?
How's that?
I say I am still in Colorado. So
Ah, very good. How was the skiing?
today I did something I had never done before. I experienced the hot springs in from Mount Princeton. The water comes out of the mountain at 170 degrees, and they temper it with some water from the river, and
Obviously.
you can be in the river and enjoy the hot springs in the river. Along the side, they put some rocks so the water kind of
Cools down.
cools down, mingles back and forth. But the first pool that they put it into, it's definitely hot, and then it filters from that pool into another pool, and we went there. We went to Crested Butte for a little skiing weekend, which is a little bit about 3 hours south of Breckenridge, where I'm currently at. And currently it's snowing outside, and we got about 14 inches of snow forecast. So
Very nice. Yeah, 2 years ago we went to Iceland and had similar experience with geothermal springs. And, my daughter actually went into the 97-degree water or whatever, and then ran out into the fjord where it was Thanksgiving, so the water was in North Atlantic, So anyway, I did not participate in that activity.
Yeah, they had the same thing in Sweden when I went up to the ice hotel in Jukahuarve, which is north of Kiruna. The river there, the Torn River, Torne, is where they cut the ice out of it to build the ice hotel, or most of it. And it's a very pure water, so the ice has a very clear and blue look to it, and it's phenomenal at night. They use fiber optics and all sorts of lighting to light it up. But they did have a hot sauna out on the river in kind of a Quonset hut kind of a thing, and then they had a hole cut in the river in the ice that you could get out of the sauna and jump right into the icy cold river and then back in. So
it's sort of what my daughter did, but I didn't.
yeah.
No, but yeah, actually, having gone to the Quebec Winter Carnival and to see the blue. I mean, these were in the '60s. There were no LEDs or whatever, and
Right.
It's impressive to see the.
I'll do a quick share screen, and you can see. So that's where I was today. That's in Mount Princeton. The hot water's coming out of the mountain, and the minerals and all. It's kind of like many other hot springs around the country. So, but the water comes here. They have rocks that are the hot water tempers with the cool water running off the mountain, and they have two pools here. That one is very hot, and the next one is somewhat hot. But after I took this photo, it was big snowstorm. So
where's this?
I'm in Colorado right now.
This
is in Mount Princeton Hot Springs. I'm staying with a friend here at Breckenridge, and we were up down in Crested Butte, which is about 3 hours south of Breckenridge, and Salinas, and some areas down Gunnison. It's nice. Every town, mining town, has kind of a different character to it. So this was. I can probably go through a couple of photos here. How's this work? Well, maybe I can't. Anyway, I'll stop the share for now. No public meeting. All right. Well, we've got myself. Who's Tom?
That could be Tom.
Terrific.
Wilson.
Tom Wilson. I will. I've added him to the group here. So. Well, I don't see Ed McCreary yet, and other than that, I don't see Sherry. So we technically do have a quorum. Oh, here, who's Colleen Wilson? That would probably be, and there's Sherry. So maybe under Tom Wilson's wife, I guess. I'll let them all on. Jim, it's starting to look pretty full.
Working on it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Sherry.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hey, hanging in there. Best we can do. Look at you with your old bright hair. Sooner or later, you're going to have to start dyeing it, aren't you? I mean,
Me or Jen?
you.
It's just the light above her head.
That's the light above my head. So yesterday, my aunt, who's elderly, is 97. I went to see her. I go there every day, and the storm came. I didn't see her, so I went right down. Tuesday, she was very delirious, very disoriented. My mom's family speaks Spanish. She was speaking Spanish. I was like, oh boy. So I called my mother. We took her to the hospital. She is very easy. It's a UTI, but for the elderly, that's very serious. So they admitted her. And my mother's sitting there in the emergency room going, when was the last time you colored your hair? I could see your roots. I'm like, Ma, we're not here to talk about my hair.
Oh. Well, I see Tom Wilson has joined us. Tom, glad to see you.
Same here. Let me just get settled in.
Sure. Take your time. We're a little casual. We haven't started the meeting yet, so.
It says Colleen. It's because I'm borrowing my daughter's computer.
Sometimes when it comes to technology, the younger generation is a little swifter at utilizing all the tools at their disposal than we are.
That's for sure. Well, if I haven't done enough Zoom meetings by now to figure it out, I'm in trouble, I guess. But
yeah, I'll get used to them.
Yeah. So I'll just let you know I reached out to Mark Loretti, and we'll see, to get me approved or put on the agenda, and we'll wait to hear from him. But I just reached out to him recently, so
Terrific.
Not his fault.
Yep, we have a couple vacancies, and we'd be glad to get them filled. And you've been involved in the community for a long time, so obviously it's an appointment by the mayor, and so there's actually 2 vacancies, as I mentioned, and that'd be
I think
great.
they're at 7, aren't there? I don't know if any of us are legal, but that's
yeah.
another.
Technically, just to be transparent, Tom, all of our appointments have expired, some of them 3 years ago. And so we're hoping the mayor can get that paperwork just in order, dot the I, cross the T's, so that we're all in appropriate. According to the city charter, you continue to serve unless you are replaced. So even though our terms have technically expired, we continue to serve legally as commissioners of the commission. So hopefully with your request to volunteer and join us, he'll also do the paperwork for all of us.
I'll reach out to Cindy too. I'll shoot her an email and then see how we make out.
Terrific.
Great. Well, I look forward to it, and thank you guys for everything you do for the city. So hopefully I could contribute.
Terrific. Well, I guess we'll get this meeting started, and we always start with a Pledge of Allegiance. So I guess everybody, if you could stand and point towards your nearest flag, and we'll give the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Terrific. I do open it up to the public. The agenda was posted on the city's website. During COVID times, we really haven't had anybody from the public participate, but be that as it may, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. So entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our January 6th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Made by
minutes.
Sherry, Seconded by Bill Dyer. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Terrific. And Teresa, thank you very much for doing those so promptly. I can't believe that you had them the next day.
I know.
So we'll move on to Trails Committee report with Bill Dyer. Bill, trails in general, Eagle Scout projects, and replacement of the storage barn over by the dog park.
Yeah, okay. Very
Here's Bill.
well. We had two.
Video for Bill.
Yeah, Bill's only on audio for whatever reason. That's happened a
Oh.
couple times. I think he does it from his phone. But Bill, if you're on a desktop or anything, if you scroll around the screen down at the bottom, there'll be a stop video. If you hit that or take the slash off of it, you will then be on video.
Lower left, Bill.
And now you are canceled
Now
with
he's-
both video and
Now
audio.
he's muted, yeah.
So if you just hover over the mute button and click it so there's no slash over that icon, then you will be able to be heard again, Bill. And if you want to do the video, you're welcome to. You don't have to, but there we go. Well, now
Am I getting?
I can hear you now, Bill, but I do not,
All
see
right.
you, which is not a big deal. So if you want to continue, that's fine.
Shouldn't that be me right there?
Well, if you scroll down at the bottom of the bar, there should be a mute button and a stop video security and stuff. If you click
Press
on the stop video, it will take the slash off of that and you will be then broadcasting your video cameras. Are you on a desktop or are you on a mobile phone?
Phone. Good.
Yeah, I just leave it for now. You know, we don't,
Yeah.
we know what your
I can-
countenance looks like. So
There I am, but I'm not. So anyway, okay. Before I end up not even being on at all, I guess I'll go ahead. Actually, we had two Boy Scouts that got their projects done within 2 days of their 18th birthday.
whoa, hitting the deadline limit there. Okay.
Absolutely remarkable. Both the Mark, who did his, the moving the bridge and on the Pegusset Trail, and Andrew, who did his with the mileposts along the rec path. So anyway, we got their documents signed and presumably they're going to make it. So that's great.
Terrific.
We also had another very unlikely scenario. We had two work parties that were actually done in January. Usually, you know, snow, weather, we don't have anything to do because everything's covered by snow. So we actually got two done. One was the Pegusset Trail behind Mayflower all the way down to 110. And then the last one was Birch Bank, where we did some good work and put some rocks and whatever in a swampy area. And then actually this past weekend, we had a tree that was basically a 45-degree over part of the Pegusset Trail right down by Buddington. We met at 9 o'clock and it was like 8 degrees. And we said, let's just figure out what we want to do and get the hell out of here. So we did that. But we actually rented a 13-foot chainsaw and a stick, if you will, and came back this past Sunday. And we're able to actually cut this tree. If you go onto the blog, you can certainly see it. It's very well documented by Terry and others. And so anyway, we have actually gotten quite a bit done over the last month or since we last met.
Yeah, you've got a lot of good coverage in the Shelton Herald. I see what they post on Facebook and such, and it seems that they've gotten the word out. Have you had any new volunteers join your team? I know kind of winter is a weird time to have a work party.
Yeah, not really. The same crazy people show up.
It's been
Oh.
pretty cold. The last party down Birchbank, I remember that was a cold morning.
Oh, right. We had two boys that have hours to do because of high school and whatever. Neither one of them showed up. One of the mothers called up and said, well, my son tried to figure out where you were, but called back and said, why you didn't call me to say where we were. But anyway, all is good. Things are fine and nobody got hurt and we're making some progress. So I think it's all good.
For the Eagle Scout project where you put in the mile markers or way markers along the recreation path, were they able to put them in place adequately? I mean, I'm sure you inspected their work. I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah. Well, actually,
dig a hole in a frozen ground is a challenge.
They put the 4.1 mile marker on Lane Street, and it turned out to be just beyond the two stone markers and the big rock in the middle. And apparently somebody backed into it and knocked it over. So anyway, I've got it at home now. So
Okay.
when the weather warms up, the ground warms up, we'll go back and put it on the inside of the rock and the markers. So anyway, but yeah, no, things are fine. No real problems.
Okay, well, then the third item on your trails area is the barn by the dog park.
We have paid the down payment and we're waiting for them. They were going to do a preliminary design and then get back to us. And then, at the very least, Jim and I were going to talk to them about it and whatever. There aren't a lot of issues. I mean, it's just, we're going to get a fantastic 2-story barn with a set of stairs and the ability to drive the gator and mower in and out, so we don't have to take it apart each time like we have to do now.
Sure. Do we have any schedule we're trying to hold the contractor to, or do we have a goal that we want to have it achieved by?
I don't honestly think, given this weather and whatever, we haven't pushed them, but Jim, do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm thinking like, do we want to have it done by National Trails Day, the first Saturday in June?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
So we'll tell them that we have to have this thing done by June 1st or June 10th.
All right.
See what happens. If they don't make it, they don't make it. But we got to put them to a schedule. Otherwise, I think we'll get pushed off with other people.
Agreed. Yeah, no pressure to actually, we have some hard date that we're going to have a big ceremony, ribbon cutting. No big deal if it happens to be middle of June, but we got to give them something to start with.
Excellent. I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Good. Excellent. Good idea.
All right. Next item on here has Ed McCreary's name to it, but I could cover for him with the Shelton Canal, the locks at the end of Canal Street. For Tom's benefit, it's an area of historic interest that we're hoping to participate as a team member in the restoration of the locks in conjunction with all the economic development that's going to be going on Canal Street. It's a pretty involved project. Ed McCreary's done some legwork thus far with identifying some engineering firms that specialize in the restoration of locks for canals. We had a meeting with the Naugatuck, help me out, Teresa, what's the full name of Rick Dunn's organization?
Naugatuck Valley Council of
Governments. Yeah.
Council of Governments.
Yeah, so Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, some of their organization members were able to utilize a CAD software that allows you to tell a story using mapping, inserting videos. And they told a story for a dam over in Ansonia that they seek to remove so that fish can migrate upriver for spawning. And it was really well done. We all saw it and thought that was a interesting storytelling tool to tell the story of why the locks are important for the community. And so we participated in a Zoom meeting led by Paul Grimmer from the Shelton Economic Development Corporation, along with Rick Dunn and some of his team members, myself and McCreary. Teresa sat in on it. And the direction that we're going with is they have a lot of content over the years at SCDC with drone video and historic postcard photographs and such that could put together a story in a similar fashion to what we saw for the dam in Ansonia. So one of the Rick's team has put a rough outline together, and we're going to review that. But the story's audience first would be to the aldermen and other decision makers that would have to move the baton forward down the track to obtain funding for engineering studies and such. But we're hoping that the story that's told would also eventually, potentially, benefit the public to learn about the history if they weren't aware of it, but also if the costs of the project are such that it requires something of a municipality bonding issue beyond grants and such that we can get, that it would be able to be utilized for that purpose. So we're in the rough stages of drafting some outline of what a story would look like. So all the people are pretty excited about it. But from our perspective, we were focused on the canal locks for their historic character. The Conservation Commission has always been a participant in the downtown redevelopment. If you look at the Veterans Memorial Park and the River Walk, we always looked at that recreational opportunity to the open space of the river as an important component to draw people to invest in the economic development of downtown. So it's in the early stages, and but I just updating everybody that we did have a meeting facilitated by SEDC with all the people who could put together this story. So that's the stage that we're at right now.
Is this to make it functional or just cleaned up and look, nice and appear to be functional?
Non-functional. It's non-functional.
Yeah, it's not. It's a non-functional canal locks at the moment. The locks are in a state that is sound for the walls of the locks. The canal company and the company that owns the dam and generates hydroelectric are interrelated. There are different entities, but basically it's the same people that own the dam, that they provided water to people on the factories along the canal. And then in the later years, I think Chromium Process was the last customer of their water use that they used in their processing of chroming and plating. But they also then generate the hydroelectric power, which is a license from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And part of that license, which is a very long-term license, I think 30 years, Teresa, is that right?
40, I think.
40 years. It's a long-term license. And there are requirements that they provide passive recreational opportunities. So they are required to allow the public to cross over that bridge that's currently crossing the canal locks and go all the way up towards where their hydroelectric facility is. And there is a staircase that goes down to the river further upstream near the dam where fishermen can then fish. So there also is a requirement that they provide a fish ladder to allow fish to migrate above the dam for spawning. They haven't fulfilled that requirement for some time, and there's a lot of engineering difficulties in how fish spawn and how that can be accomplished. But the canal company has been contacted, and they are quite interested in this effort to restore the locks, in the sense that once an engineering firm looks at it, we'll decide whether we can have them be operable to a demonstratable purpose. The canal itself above the locks does terminate where their hydroelectric facility is. It's actually underground. When they put that in place with their turbines, it ended the canal at that point. So there is no way for a boat to come from the lower Housatonic through the locks and then be above the dam. There is a gatehouse up near the dam that is also debilitated. So there is water that enters the canal from above the dam on Lake Housatonic, and there's also water that comes off of Riverview Park, and there's water that comes through Captain Curtis Brook that goes near the Boys and Girls Club. So there's a lot of different parties involved. The railroad company was mentioned as part of the whole redevelopment of that area because there needs to be a crossing accomplished that's been in negotiations for several years.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of parties that this can bring them together potentially. So but
Interesting.
it's a long-term project, and it's something that would be the terminus basically of a current concept of the walkway. But there has been some talk at SEDC about continuing the Riverwalk walkway all the way up towards Indian Wells.
Right.
And there is a double wide right of way there, but how that would be accomplished engineering wise and negotiation wise with the owners of the railroad is kind of a long-term discussion by leadership. But from our perspective of conservation, we've always wanted the public to enjoy the open space. And then again, for your benefit, Tom, the city owns the development rights to the area of the canal company's property north of the locks. So at one time in recent years, the canal company was interested in filling that in and utilizing it for a development site. And the mayor was able to negotiate with the canal company to purchase the development rights for that area. So although it's privately owned and the public always had recreational access due to the licensing from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission for the dam, we now also own the development rights. So we have a little bit more say in how that could be used for recreational passive uses.
Great. That's interesting. Thanks.
I'm still looking forward to being able to take my kayak from Sunnyside all the way up the canal locks, portage across the property, and then on to Birchbank. So let's not give up.
Well, I will tell you that Bruce Nichols, from the Nickeldale Farm area there, Bruce did do the full length of the Housatonic by kayak, and it included several portages, but he came all the way down, right down to downtown Shelton. So
well, I'm going up, going down.
Oh, you want to do it the hard way?
Steps, Bill. That's all. You're gonna go up a set of steps.
Yeah. Obviously,
the Trails Committee did do that one year. Teresa, I don't know if you went. I know Terry did, but we started at Sunnyside and we just went up to the locks, truthfully. But it was really, it is going opposite. Coming back, you just could coast.
Now, correct me, Sherry, was that the year that you guys did the limbo and went under some of the buildings like the Birmingham?
Yeah, we started in Derby. That's at the boat launch that's not there anymore.
Right.
No, when I did it, we started at Sunnyside.
But I remember
I have pictures of it. Kenny Juliano came, Richard, and when we went, it was really pretty cool because there was a tree that had broken down into the river, and there was large birds that were not.
Maybe we should have a boat tour this summer.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Up and down the Housatonic. That might be nice. We can do
going
that.
Going under the Route 8 bridge. That was pretty cool. As a Shelton girl who grew up here and never was on the river of that. Well, everything was always down the river going towards Stratford, never going up the river.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I'm all for that. I'm not for doing the rowing and the kayaking as much as my body might need it. But I do know Dave and Ned Ayer from Ayers Marina there at Sunnyside. So if we need a vessel that's powered by motor to make the trip, I'd be certainly
I'm thinking more of a party boat type, perhaps.
The pontoon. We'll get a pontoon.
Boat. There you go.
It's been a while. It'd be interesting to go by island gravel. That's I still have my dad's pilot logbook when he landed at the island airport. So
now, it looks so different from the water, even when we. Well, and I've also kayaked from above it, where you take it, you put your kayak in near 34, up near that restaurant 1757.
Yeah.
Where 188 comes down.
Really?
It's got a new name, by the way. I guess it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, Olive and something. Right.
Oh.
Olive and oil.
Yeah,
Olive and oil. Yeah.
yeah, Olive and Oil. They're a member of a chain, I believe, actually. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah, the chef that we had at the farm last year, she participated in one of these reality TV chef contests, and one of the chefs was from that chain, and so.
oh, interesting.
Those aren't my kids.
I was gonna say, where are the little children coming from?
Oh, that's
It's Tom's
It's-
adopted family over there.
That's Tom, that's
steady,
from
Jim.
you?
Steady, Jim. All right.
I thought it was Bill's grandchildren, nothing for nothing.
No, I'm sorry. They're a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they're rambunctious after having swum in the hot springs today. I'm still in Colorado, Sherry. So
Oh, you're in Colorado. Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm in Breckenridge, and it's snowing outside right now. It's beautiful. We're supposed to get 14 inches of snow, and I
We
was
just
gonna
got that.
My brother-
drive home tomorrow, but probably not in this weather, so I'm gonna delay.
Oh,
it.
I bet it's beautiful there.
Yeah, it's
My
very-
brother lives there.
Oh, really? Your brother lives in Breckenridge?
Yeah. Well, Silverthorne right now, but they ski there. Yeah. And his wife was working for the mountain for many years.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, I had an epic class last year, and the season ended with COVID, so I paid the
Yeah.
little extra with the credit, and so I have a 5-day pass. So
Good for you.
it's I'm very fortunate to have some friends that I'm staying with here. It's fun times.
Good for you.
So
Nice.
that's what's going on with the canal. Next item on our agenda was our budget. It does have to be submitted. The finance department sends us our budget and what our run out is for this point in time. We're only halfway through the fiscal year ending June 30th. Our budget has been pretty stable. I see if I can pull it up and then share it as a screen share with you. Teresa, do you have anything to say in the budget while I'm kind of looking something up, or does anybody have anything to say?
There's no changes.
Yeah.
Everything's exactly the same as previous
Yeah.
year.
Hopefully they'll approve what we had, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I had sent it to everybody before, so instead of me scrounging around through my emails and looking for the attachment, do I hear a motion to approve requesting our budget for Conservation Commission to be the same as last year with a nominal increase for the payroll line item?
Sure.
Made by
I'll
Jim, seconded
Yeah.
by Sherry. Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Hi. Do you have to defend it in front of A&T, or do they do that?
Probably. Probably.
That's a little questionable right now. I mean, if you follow some of the local politics, the Board of A&T has not been meeting, and some of the members are complaining about not being able to review line item transfers within a budget, or I don't know. If the normal process for Tom's benefit is that the each department prepares a budget, submits it to the mayor, and there is a Board of Apportionment Taxation reviews each request, and then there's another stage with the Board of Aldermen. So it's become a little convoluted for some commissions or departments. Like Board of Education is obviously much more complicated than us. But our commission has really kept a tight fiscal ship. We really don't have a lot of expenses that are variable, other than when we have a project we're maybe looking to purchase development rights or work with a property owner to purchase their property as open space. We try to have discussions with some of the large property owners, or specific property owners, I should say, that we feel would be an appropriate parcel to add to the city's inventory of open space. We call that a quality of life list. Those items are usually dealt with in executive session, so that we don't risk the city's status as a potential purchaser against a developer. So sometimes in those efforts, we have to do an appraisal of the property. And the appraisal is more than just a simple real estate appraisal for obtaining a grant participant in the purchase of the property. we often have to do a appraisal to what's known as a yellow book standard, which not every appraiser is certified to be able to do. So we have a line item in our budget for that kind of thing, professional services. And some years we're able to utilize it and work towards the acquisition of a parcel. And in some years, there's just not something on the docket and it doesn't get utilized. And that's usually the question, as Bill refers to in defending our budget. They like to see that if you request $5,000 for maintenance, that you actually, are you going to use it, or do you return it every year and that line item never gets used? Well, then maybe you shouldn't have it in your budget in the first place, and that frees up other resources for other departments. But they understand what we do and leverage our dollars from the city coffers to do all the volunteer efforts, as Bill just mentioned. Renting a chainsaw with our budget dollars to have several people show up on a Saturday in January and keep the trail maintained is a no-brainer. So sometimes there's a capital project like this dog park barn, and there's some participation from our budget towards that, but usually that's a LoCIP project, local community improvement project, that depending upon how that concept of LoCIP is used by the Board of Aldermen, can include reimbursement from the state for those kind of projects.
Oh, interesting.
So anybody have, I guess that's it for the budget. And Teresa, could you forward that back then to Finance Department to let them know that we're all set with that? And P&Z applications, I left a couple of old ones on here on our agenda. I still have not heard what the fee in lieu of payment was for that development on Mohegan and Booth Hill. Teresa, have you heard anything about the open space on that Nichols Place, the dedication of it? Is it filed in the city?
I haven't heard anything about it. Usually the Board of Aldermen, they have to accept it by motion.
That's true, correct, yeah.
Yeah, and then Teresa Adcox, their clerk, will send a copy of that to me.
Yeah, so we haven't seen any of that. So I went to the city's website to see about any minutes. They have not posted minutes, so I'll be frank, they continue to violate freedom of information regulations, and they continue to make it difficult for other commissions such as ourselves to know what they're working on and be a participant in the process of approving applications for development in the community. So
That's crazy.
Maybe it should be changed from minutes to months.
well, they've had their hands slapped a couple times. I know with COVID, things are a little bit different, but I mean, as I referenced, Teresa was able to turn the minutes around for our commission, which I'll admit is a lot simpler than a planning and zoning meeting, but she can turn them around the next morning by like 10 or 11 o'clock. There is no reason why planning and zoning minutes should be sitting out there for 2 or 3 months. It's just not right. It's not right to the public. It's not right to us as another commission to know what they're doing or what they're going on. I could certainly sit down and watch their YouTube videos for hours on end, but I'm not interested in doing that. So it's just disappointing. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, if we're concerned about it, we should write a letter and copy the mayor.
Agree.
I could do that. Yeah, I'll do that. All right.
Keep it positive.
Hopefully there's other, yeah.
Be positive, but tell them we really would like to have the information.
Right.
Especially in light of, I mean, what we're referencing here, like fee in lieu of amounts. I mean, that's from months and months ago. And
Yeah, I got it, Tom, but let's move on.
Yep. Okay. Other than that, since I don't see their agenda for next week, I think they have a meeting next week, but the agenda is not posted yet. Giving credit to the Planning and Zoning Department, they do post all of their materials for an upcoming meeting with drawings and photographs for a site review. But that's Alex and the Planning and Zoning Department. So, but I don't see anything posted for anything upcoming to be aware of. So, moving on to the next item on our agenda, communications. Teresa, anything to talk or discuss about with communications?
No.
Okay. Quality of life. We have one parcel of property to give. We don't need to go into executive session for this, but I'll just give Tom a reference to how we look at things. We have a list of properties that we've identified over the years that we feel would be good to accumulate with maybe other open space we own to create a better corridor of public property. Or maybe it's a one-off parcel that is on its own valuable to the environment, habitat, and passive recreation opportunities. There's many reasons why there's a parcel we would identify to put on our quality of life list. Traditionally, we have kept to corridors or greenways. They, for the most part, follow water courses like the Housatonic River Greenway or the Far Mill River Greenway, the Meansbrook Greenway. And we know that those water courses affecting water quality and the recreation along them and habitat along them, those are important areas. And so our open space plan, which is on our website, identifies those greenway corridors, and we do focus on those, but not to the exclusion of some other parcel in town that might have some benefit. When we identify a parcel and we maybe talk to the property owner and say, you know, we really appreciate you maintaining this property as farmland for years, as an example. We'd love to see that continued. How can we work with you to achieve that? Is that a goal that you see in your future for this farm? That kind of thing. You know, that can get into a lot of complicated issues with estate issues, tax issues for capital gains. But as opposed to just selling a property to a developer, the city as a municipality has a lot of tools in its chest to get grants, to stretch payments out over time for minimizing the tax impacts. There's a lot of things we can do as a city that a developer couldn't do. But then, of course, a developer has a lot of assets or cash on hand that can work more nimbly than a municipality. But we have identified a parcel and have discussed with the mayor about discussing with the property owner. We personally can't negotiate for the city's behalf. We can certainly have discussions, dialogues, have a full understanding of what's going on with a family or entity that owns a property and what the city can do, and bring those together and present it to the mayor and the alderman to carry it further. And then if there are some grant applications that need to be done, as I mentioned earlier in our budget, we have some line items to help facilitate that. So we've always worked in a great partnership with the Board of Aldermen and the mayor and the planning and zoning, because during their subdivisions approvals, they can set aside open space within the raw land parcel that the subdivision was applied for to complement other open space aspects. So, but in regard to our agenda item, I know Ed McCreary has been in contact directly with the mayor regarding this particular parcel, and I do not believe there is any update at this time. So nothing really to discuss on that. So there's no need to go into executive session to discuss that, which is what we would typically do for land acquisition purposes. And so with that, we're already near the end here with comments by members. Again, for Tom's benefit, we're following a Robert's Rules of Order, but we've always been a congenial commission. So, so I'll start. I am enjoying Colorado, and it is. I've had an extended period of time off, but it does have to come to an end. So I'll be back home with my 85-year-old mom, who I'm picking up in Chicago for the rest of the journey, and she's spent 2+ weeks with my sister in Chicago, which has been a revelation to my sister and an enjoyment by my mom. So when you get to 85, you get some issues. And so my sister's able to see them firsthand now. So,
Right.
Safe travels home.
thank you. Thank you. I actually made pretty good time coming out here. I left Chicago and I made it in 15 hours to Breckenridge. I averaged 78 miles an hour. So when the highway's wide and open and there's good weather, traffic moves. So, yeah.
Mm.
How about next below my Brady Bunch box is Sherry. Sherry, any comments? How's your husband doing, first off?
My husband's doing good. Actually, he's doing really well. His voice is getting stronger.
Good.
And we loved the snowstorm. We were able to just stay home. And of course, it was quite shocking when we woke up the next morning to how the drifts were. Like the drifts just were perfect in our driveway where we were like, oh, this isn't just a shovel. So a lot of snow removal. And yeah, everything's been good. Kind of missing the outdoors a little bit. I was going to go snowshoeing and then Auntie ended up in the hospital. So my afternoon went to the hospital, place you never want to be. I couldn't. Oh my gosh. So I walked in though and people were greeting me. You weren't here because you're your husband. How's your husband?
You're a frequent flyer there.
People I didn't even know. Yeah, like
That's
like
not
people-
good when you're a welcome visitor at the hospital.
It was really strange. I forgot that. Yeah, the first person I met, because they take your temperature, ask you questions. I don't know her or even, she wasn't, because you do start to get to know people. And she was like, how's your husband? And I'm thinking, oh boy, this is not a good sign.
They don't get out much either.
Right, right.
Oh, but
Bill, comments from you?
well, I was wondering about the sad passing of Rudy Hudak and whether it's obviously a rather significant piece of property in this town. Is there something obvious? I don't want to go into executive session, but do we know what's likely to happen with that huge property?
I really wouldn't talk about that publicly, other than to say that Stone Gardens Farm is one example. The Monahans are continuing to farm on the land, which is great, and it's continuing to be used for agricultural purposes. And Rudy's daughter lives there, and so let's put it this way: no news is good news.
Good news. Okay, excellent. Good. Thank you.
I'm curious though, Bill, are you old enough to have received the COVID vaccine?
I have.
And did you do that?
Of course, absolutely. Looking forward to my next one in a couple of weeks. So yes, absolutely.
So
Who
when I
looks
get
forward to a vaccine?
no, when I get back, it's one of my tasks I have to do for my mom. We left just prior to them announcing that that age group could get the vaccine. So
Actually,
everything went pretty simple and painless for you then, I guess.
the facility that Griffin opened up in Shelton, right near the
Starbucks, yeah.
Two tires. No, actually, that's what I thought.
On Progress Drive, right?
Yeah,
It's
progress.
It's just beyond the
Cinto Towers.
Cinto Towers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that was recommended to me. That was very simple, and they had it
Well organized.
a real well organized process. As a matter of fact, I think Senator Blumenthal visited there and was pleasantly surprised. So
I went there the very first day they opened and was shocked how good it was.
As it should be.
Griffin Hospital has been doing the testing statewide for nursing homes. So they kind of focused on that niche. And so I give Pat Charmel tons of credit for his organization of how the hospital could focus in this pandemic and find a way to serve not just our community, but the state at large. So it's a great asset.
For the first day to be open and to be that well organized was extremely impressive.
Great. Teresa, anything from you to say or add to our dialogue?
I had a fun walk on Bone Pond on Sunday. I posted it on Facebook, but if you missed it, I was able to walk out on the ice over to the Beaver Lodge, and I wasn't really expecting anything, but I could hear gnawing inside the Beaver Lodge. So I took a video, and it's pretty quiet. It sounds just like if you've ever had mice in your walls, It sounds just like that, except louder, you know, just gnaw, 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 gnaw from inside the lodge. And everything else is very, very quiet in the snow. And then I took a couple steps closer and all of a sudden I heard these baby beavers. Just, you know, they were getting disturbed by mom, who must have shifted because she heard me out there. And it was just adorable. So I have that, I could share the video.
Did you put that on the Trails blog? Because I feel like I saw it. Did I see it on Facebook?
It was on Facebook.
Okay, so it must have been Facebook.
Yeah.
I've seen your post, but I didn't watch the video. So
you posted it to us at least, and that was.
And I sent it to Trails. Yeah,
those
the 45 seconds is just chewing. And
human babies.
what?
The babies sounded like human babies.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do.
Remarkable. Well, Teresa, you might also point out the new plan you have for getting people out on the trails.
Right. Well, it seemed like we need another trails
Incentive.
challenge. We people like those, and I think normally we would have waited a few years for another one, but seize the moment. You know, everybody's still out there. Even in the winter, there's a lot of people on the trail. So this one is letterboxing under the name of the Shelton Trails Committee, and 20 carved stamps hidden along the trails for the 20 named trails. So the stamp.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So the stamp has the name of the trail. For the Shelton ones, it has the outline of Shelton with the name of the trail. And then there's, I'm working on something you're going to print out that has a little blank spot for where you stamp that when you find it. And it has like the bluff walk, and it tells you something about the bluff walk. And then there's the clues to find the letter box, and then a place to stamp it. So I have all the
that's going to be for next year, or that will be starting this year?
This year.
Wow. It didn't
I have all the boxes prepared, all the stamps carved, and I have 4 of them hidden.
Cool.
And then it snowed, but I still was able to hide one today.
So it's on so if you go into the Trails blog spot, that's where the information is?
That's where it will be listed.
Not yet. Right.
Oh, but not yet. Okay. Send me an email when it gets posted so I can start.
Sure. Yeah.
For Tom's benefit, we recognized that with everybody using the trails, not everybody was familiar with the breadth of trails that we have in the community. A lot of people would go right to the rec path, the dog park, that kind of thing. So Teresa really creatively put together a what's it called? Get Out There Challenge, I think it was called, or something.
Out and About.
Out and About challenge.
Out and about, yeah.
And the idea was that you would take a little icon, you know, maybe it was a mug or a little fuzzy animal or something, and you would take a photo of it at all the different locations of these trails.
Nice.
And then once you had done all of them, then you were entered into a little drawing, and Teresa and her husband had some walking sticks that they had prepared, which they awarded, if is it the right word?
It's a drawing at the end for the sticks. And then everybody got a card mailed to them.
Yeah.
Completed a
That
level.
was nice. That's great. That's great.
And it really did get people out to explore areas that they had no idea that, hey, that's a beautiful view of the Housatonic River from that trail. I never knew this even existed. So
yeah,
it was
Definitely fun.
a creative idea that came up. Teresa came up with that on her own, and I really applaud her for that. So we've continued the concept this year with the letter boxing, which is something Teresa has done in the past with
nice
throughout the state and beyond. So.
And Bill did the marathon. Remember Bill, when you did the marathon one?
Yeah, no, that worked out very well too.
Big one.
Yeah.
Onward to Captain Jim. Captain Jim, what do you have to add to our conversation? I hope you have been working out and, you know, getting down to a trim, lean captain physique. So
I have.
The salty dog.
I have. No comment. Too much going on. So no comment this month. We'll wait till next month.
terrific.
Oh, that's great, Jim.
Sounds promising.
We'll be waited with bated breath. And since you're part of the group here tonight, Tom, anything you want to add for your first conservation experience?
First, I guess I should add that I'm going to be heading out soon because it's I'm spending my 31st wedding anniversary is today.
Oh,
Happy
wow.
anniversary.
Perfect.
Better get
Congratulations.
down and chat with my bride. But no, I'm, as I said, I'm looking forward to a lot of common interest. Listen to everybody. I'm constantly on the trails. I'm a big skier too, Tom. I can't go to Breckenridge anymore though, which is a shame. I get altitude sickness out there every time.
Yeah, it took a little adjustment, but my situation, I have a condo up at Bromley, and because of the COVID regulations for Vermont, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks in place before you can go out, and then when you come back to Connecticut, you got to quarantine. So it didn't look like I was going to utilize that much. So my niece is a sophomore at University of Vermont, so she asked if she could use my condo to be her home base to do her remote learning. So her and her roommate have taken over my Bromley condo, and they quickly got a job at Stratton, and so they're enjoying the ski bum
good for them,
life. But I fortunately had some time off, and so I'm out here for what will be 2.5 weeks at Breckenridge.
Awesome, good for you.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, my two sons live. One has been making snow this winter at Sugar Bush, and my other son lives in Burlington, Vermont. So we managed to get up there, my wife and I, for New Year's, but by quarantine. We had a little cottage just to the two of us, and then did some snowshoeing up there. So that's basically what you got to do now.
Weird year.
But I'm looking for a strange year.
Yeah, it is a strange year. I will say, having traveled,
Obviously.
through Nebraska, Iowa, Colorado, and around, there is a difference in the COVID regulations for sure.
Yeah.
But the places that I have gone to have been very strict with their contact tracing. Like if you go into a restaurant, you could probably fit 100 people in this restaurant, and there's only like 5 tables.
Yeah.
And when you go in order for them to be open here in Colorado, they have to take your phone number, your email, and your name.
Right.
And be able to do the contact tracing. And I know back in Shelton, when I've gone out to a diner or something, they're not doing that. So,
No.
each state has its own pace, but out here, even each county has its own situation.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a patchwork, but it's interesting to see how everybody has addressed it. Some better than others. So,
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, with that
All right.
said, we're at the end of our meeting. I thank everybody, and stay safe.
I'll work on being official for next time if it works out. So we'll talk.
Terrific.
Good
Thanks so
luck
much,
with that.
everybody.
Good night.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
everybody. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe.
Take care.
Bye, Teresa.
Bye-bye.
Bill,